Predicted Trades family. Hope everybody's doing well. Hope everyone had a fun Halloween night last night. Looks like the market had a fun night as well, gapping up and heading for some new highs. Higher than Friday, right? So yesterday, not much to review. We basically fell into this range of 38.78 and a half at 3,900, and we just held that range all day. It was a boring day, but overall still bullish as we had that big strong day on Friday, stayed up in this range, and are pushing for more. We do still have our FOMC tomorrow. We can take a quick look at the economic calendar, I suppose. So today we have some PMI data coming out around 9:45, manufacturing data at 10 a.m., some jobs data as well at 10 a.m. Tomorrow is the big one. We have ADP report, and we have FOMC at 2 p.m. with Powell speaking after. Thursday, we have our jobless claims, some more jobs data, a little more PMI. And then Friday, non-farm payroll. That's the big things this week on the economic calendar. We do still have a number of earnings going on as well. Let me pull over the earnings. Come on. There we go. We've got our earnings schedule. This morning we've got some oil reporting, some energy. We also have some, Uber and some healthcare. And then after the bell, we have AMD as the big one. Airbnb if you trade that kind of stuff. Tomorrow, we've got some more healthcare, a little bit of retail. We've got Roku and Qualcomm and some more energy, oil, Etsy. And then going into Thursday, we have, 3 payment processors, right? PayPal, Coinbase, Block, Twilio, Starbucks, Datadog, Peloton. So very busy, full schedule on the earnings for this week. We got through pretty much all the big tech names. AMD definitely going to be interesting. What was it? Today after the bell, right? Yeah, today after the bell. So, where can we be headed today? We are arriving at the top of this 2-hour squeeze on ES. Oh, man. If we do keep trucking, I have a zone above 941, 39.53, 39.61. Next big key levels to the upside. If we can keep going past that, then we're talking second Keltner to the upside, up around that 39.85, and then big psych level 4,000. If we do slip back to fill the gap, I'd be interested to see if 3,900 could hold, since that's kind of the highs from yesterday. If we do have a little slip back, If 3900 starts to give out, then we are coming back to fill that gap and back to this 39 or 3880. But if we can hold up that 3900, we can continue trying to push higher on the market. Pretty simple thesis. NQ, also a part of this gap up, which is good to see because NQ was kind of the lagger yesterday. It kind of fell the hardest in the morning, but called it out in the room that and in prep yesterday that we could get down to that daily 21 and daily 8, these two lines that were bunched together, creating a little zone of liquidity, a little zone of support. And that's where we bounced, and we didn't even retest it. So we get our little gap up, not surprising. If we do have a little pullback, looking for that 11,500 to hold and start to send us higher. If it gives out, we're coming back to retest these moving averages in the bottom of that squeeze. And to the upside, looking to get back to this 11,677, the daily 50, which NQ hasn't tested in quite some time. And that daily 50 is around 735. And if she can still get going more, then that 11,800 is the big key level to get back to, right past this recent high. Sorry. Ready. Ready was actually kind of the strongest yesterday. Not surprising, right? They took the whole market up on Friday and bought a lot of the large caps. So then yesterday, while a lot of the large caps saw some dips and some profit taking, we saw small caps start to kind of push and lead to the upside. You can see that barely gave a dip in the morning, took off and pumped up to new highs past Friday, and then kind of closed up near there. So might still get some small cap rotation today. Big target is this daily 200 moving average, which sits around that 1883. And if she can keep going, big key level, this 1900, big psych level. If you go back, 1900 held the ready up earlier this year before it finally gave out and came back to this 1700 and this 1656. But here we are about to knock at the door of that 1900. Past that, we have a 2-day squeeze that will likely hold us back. On to YM. YM has already made it above its daily 200. And, all indices setting a new high above Friday's high. On YM, if we have a little dip, would like to see that 32,900 hold. It's basically the highs from yesterday. And to push up to, 33,000, we've already kind of peaked our head above, obviously. So 33,000, big key psych level to get through, and then try to push our way up to that 32,200 and 277 where the next Keltner sits. But that is the third Keltner. So wouldn't be surprised if we get there before going into FOMC, and then if FOMC sends us back a little bit to just kind of reset and test moving averages before trying to head higher. But overall, YM been very strong. On Apple, yesterday I had just a little dip in the morning, didn't even need to get back down to that daily 50 at 151.5, basically held 152, and stayed, basically near this range. Sorry, zoom in a little bit, there we go. held this little zone at 153.8, 154.7. So if we do have a little pullback, looking for that zone to hold. It was kind of the resistance yesterday, so want to see it become the support if we do go back to, maybe a half gap fill. And then looking for us to keep pushing up to this daily 200 that we tested on Friday at 156 and a half-ish, and try to complete the journey up to 160. AMD reports after the bell, as we like to talk about in here. We usually don't play a lot of trades into earnings because the options are so elevated. The premium is pumped up with IV going into earnings. And then right after they report, they take all that IV and extra premium out. And if the name opens flat, pretty much, we can see some amazing moves off of our beast buy zones. So likely won't be holding anything on AMD into their earnings, but you could potentially play something else like NVIDIA for a sympathy trade. AMD held that 60 level yesterday, gapping back up. If it does make a push today, would not be surprised to see it try to get back up to this 63, kind of this high we rejected, and back up to the top of this 4-hour squeeze. If we see the market have a dip this morning, basically looking for 60 to hold like it did yesterday. Amazon. Had that big dump on earnings, worked its way back on Friday a little bit. If we can start to take out this 104.25 and push to this 106, then we will likely get a push up to finish kind of filling that earnings gap down and test the daily 8 up around 110. If we can push further, 114 where the daily 21 sits. And if we have a little dip this morning, looking for that 101 and a half to hold at the bottom of that 2-hour squeeze. Sorry, 1-hour squeeze. But if that gives out, likely coming back to 100. BA. BA reported earnings, and they were actually, very mixed. We saw a positive kind of reaction at first, and then a sell-off, but now she's on a steady trudge right back up. Already arriving back at the daily 50, and gapping above it. So on a pullback, looking for that daily 50 to hold around 143 and a half. If that gives out, probably coming back to that 142 or 140 and a half at the daily 8, bottom of that squeeze. But if she can keep pushing, basically looking to get through 145, get back up to 148, 150. Cat. Cat had some great earnings last week. And you can see started this big old earnings run into earnings. I think I saw that the 200 call last week on Monday started at 20 cents and it closed at like 20 bucks. Since it was so far in the money. Cat, basically looking for this 212 to hold on any pullbacks. And for it to try to keep pushing through that 220, we are past the third Keltner. If we start to lose that 212, we could be seeing Cat come on back to 200 and the daily 200, which sits pretty much at 200. I'm not saying that happens today, more like this week if the market does have a small sell-off after FOMC, as some things are starting to get a little overbought on this rally. Coin reports on Thursday, so elevated premium, not really going to be playing it, but going to keep an eye on it. Let's see if it can hold or get through its daily 21, get through the 70, and start to work its way back up to these recent highs. And big goal 75, 78. Google. Google definitely weak yesterday. XLC took a beating. Beating, I'd say, they dropped and stayed down, basically. And now we're gapping up. Let's see if we can hold 95 on any pullbacks. That was kind of the resistance yesterday. And if we can get going up through that overnight high around 97, where the daily 8 sits, then it's a goal to get up to 98, 78, where the daily 21 sits. All in a mission to get back to 100. GS, one of the stronger names yesterday. Finance was kind of leading any kind of upside moves. You can see GS went up, pretty much stayed up, and going to be gapping with the goal of getting back to this 350, and that third Keltner will be falling near that 350. At which point, wouldn't be surprised to see it take a break after such a strong run, see some profit taking, and have them bring it back to probably like 330 where the daily 8 sits before heading back up. Just kind of talking about the overall thesis as this approaches 350. I wouldn't be surprised for a pullback and then continuation. JPM. Same thing, had a nice push up yesterday and then came on back. Going to be opening in yesterday's range. If we have a dip, looking for this 126, 125 and a half to hold and give it momentum to get up to 128, 130, big key psych level. We are near third Keltner, so same thesis. Wouldn't be surprised for one last push and then a pullback to the daily 8. Meta. And like I said, XLC took a beating yesterday. A lot of that was Meta. Like I've been saying, Meta's down hard on earnings. It's at like new 6-year lows. This one just needs time. I would leave it alone. Can you short it? I mean, yeah, but it's getting oversold. It's at 6-year lows. This is not where you want to step into short, really. And I know that probably some folks did short it yesterday and made a little money, but overall, I'm leaving this one alone until it gets back above 100, and then we have levels to play with and to, and we will have, at least our first signs that they are trying to buy it and accumulate. Microsoft. Microsoft held up well, basically chopping around this 232, looking for that 232.86 to hold on a pullback if that gives out, coming down to 230. But if we can hold and keep on pushing, I'm looking to get through 235 where this daily 8 sits, get up to 237 and a half where the daily 21 sits, and get back to this 240, 241. All on a goal to get up to the daily 50 and back to recent highs. Netflix. Netflix, got down to 290 yesterday, but held it and gapping back up. Netflix still in a big gap fill that spans up to 333, so looking for a Netflix to get back through 300, and once it takes out 307, 310 could start flying up to that 333 where that gap fill ends. And we have a key level around 340. It is near its third Keltner, which is a little oversold. and we somewhat got a little bit of that pullback yesterday, almost to the daily 8. If we can't get through 300 or that 306, we could be coming back to retest 290 and engage that daily 8 at the bottom of this squeeze. NVIDIA did a great job holding this daily 50 yesterday and this 134, gapping up near yesterday's highs, looking for that 135, 136 to hold on any pullback, and for it to try to continue the journey up through these recent highs, get up to 140, and maybe push beyond up to 145 where this 2-day squeeze top sits. I'll be probably watching those 145s, 150s today as a potential sympathy trade with AMD. We have seen a number of chips report earnings already this season. MU, LRCX, we had Intel and IBM, I believe, and they all had decent earnings. So, could see a little upside on AMD and NVIDIA after AMD reports today after the bell. QQQ. Slid right down to that daily 21, daily 8, caught its bounce, now above 280 and pushing near Friday's highs. Upside goal, that 282, this 284-ish, and 285 are the upside targets today. If we do have a little dip, we'd like to see that 280, 279.5 hold us up and provide more opportunity to the upside. If we start to lose that, then we could be sliding back to the bottom of the squeeze in that daily 821 for another test. SPX. Looks like we're going to be capping up 40 points. So that'll put us kind of near 39.10, above this high. So if we do have a pullback, looking for that 3900, 3905 to provide support, and catch a bounce to continue up to 3935, 3950. And let's see, that third Keltner sits up above 4,000. So we can keep on trucking before we fully engage that third Keltner. SPY. SPY was held down by this trend line from the overnight highs, basically just wedged in that space, but did a good job staying above 385. Actually got down to 385 and a quarter at the low, and then moved up off of that and didn't even get that low again on a retest. Just point that out because in a bullish setup, simply not going lower can be a reason to keep going higher. It's basically profit taking, repositioning for continuation. So already getting above 390 this morning on a pullback, basically looking for that 388.5, 389 to provide support and bounce us up further, looking to get back to that 392 and ultimately this 395.8 big key level. Would not be surprised to see us get up there before FOMC. Not saying that we have to get there today. And it'd be a little bit outside of a full ATR to get there, closing at 386 with an 8-point ATR. So it'd be a little bit more than a full ATR to get there today, but I could see over the next 2 days us getting up to that level for FOMC. It's a great spot to reject and come back to these zones. Tesla. Tesla, I've shared these key levels earlier this week. You definitely want to mark them on your charts. Yesterday slipped down and held around that 222, 223 and a half. That daily 8 was there as well. And then we work our way right back up to the top of these squeezes in that daily 21, the mean. Now we're going to be opening above the mean, so on any pullbacks, looking for 230, daily 21 to provide support to get us through this 233 and to keep trucking to the upside. If we do lose 230, then we're likely coming back to fill the gap, maybe even come back to this 223 and a half. But if we can get going through at 233, ultimately looking to get up to about 250. Not necessarily saying it happens today, that's just the overall upside thesis. And we have a daily squeeze that's starting to settle right around there. We also have our first Keltner to the upside around that 244. So just some targets to the upside if we can take out that 233. But we could reject at the top of the squeeze and start sliding back to the bottom. We're basically in a range that Tesla has fought back up to. On to UVXY. Yesterday, UVXY and VIX stayed under their targets and slid lower, which should have provided some upside in the market, but we didn't really go anywhere in the market. Now we're getting that gap up. UVXY made it down below 10. So for further upside today, looking for UVX to get down below 9.5 and try to work its way down to 9.25 or 9. We do have our third Keltner, going to be right near that 9.25. If we're going to see downside, we'll likely see a bounce near that 9.25. We'll get back through 9.5 and work our way back up to 10 and 10.25. And VIX got below 26 yesterday. VIX went back to fill the gap. So for further upside, basically we're looking for VIX to continue down below 25.5, where that second Keltner to the downside sits. Get down to 25, 24.5, and the third Keltner sits down near 23.76, right near our key level at 23.33, and right near the bottom of this 2-day squeeze on VIX. So hopefully that was helpful for everybody. Thanks for tuning in. It is a free week in our room. If you're new to Predicted Trades, there's a link in the description of this video to join our Discord server. And this week we are allowing folks to test out our tool on your options chart all week long. We're pretty much the only service out there that gives you a proprietary tool to use on your options charts that give an amazing edge and kind of show you the best prices to buy and sell. So definitely come check us out. We'll see everybody in the room today. Good luck. Thanks for tuning in.